Most people lose their peace, confidence, and energy not because of major problems, but because they react emotionally to everything around them. A single opinion ruins their mood. A small inconvenience destroys their focus. A difficult moment controls their entire mindset. Over time, emotional reactions slowly weaken mental strength and inner stability. But real power is not found in loud reactions, anger, or impulsive behavior. Real power is the ability to remain calm when others expect you to lose control. The strongest individuals are not easily manipulated by emotions, pressure, criticism, or external chaos. They think clearly, respond carefully, and protect their peace intentionally. In this audiobook, you will learn how to control emotional reactions, stay calm under pressure, detach from negativity, and build quiet confidence through self-mastery. You will understand why silence is often stronger than argument, why emotional discipline creates freedom, and why calmness gives you an advantage in every area of life. The less emotionally reactive you become, the more focused, stable, and powerful your mind becomes. Because once you learn to control your reactions, you stop allowing the world to control you. Chapter 1. Every reaction gives away your power. Most people do not realize how much power they lose through emotional reactions. A single moment of anger, frustration, or impulsive behavior can damage peace, relationships, opportunities, and self-control. Emotional reactions often happen automatically, without thought or awareness. But every unnecessary reaction gives other people and external situations control over your emotional state. Reactive individuals are easily controlled by circumstances. Their mood changes depending on what others say, what happens during the day, or how life treats them. A small criticism ruins their confidence. A minor inconvenience destroys their focus. This constant emotional instability weakens mental strength and creates unnecessary stress over time. Strong individuals behave differently. They understand that calmness creates control. Instead of reacting immediately, they pause, observe, and respond carefully. This ability to remain emotionally steady during difficult situations creates real power. The calmer you remain, the clearer your thinking becomes. Emotional reactions often create consequences that last longer than the emotion itself. Anger may last a few minutes, but the damage caused by impulsive words or actions can remain for years. Many people regret things they said during emotional moments. This is why emotional discipline is essential for long-term peace and stability. Most reactions happen because people allow emotions to overpower awareness. They speak before thinking. They respond before understanding. They act based on temporary feelings instead of long-term wisdom. Self-control begins when you stop allowing emotions to make decisions for you automatically. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that reacting emotionally shows strength. In reality, uncontrolled reactions usually reveal weakness and insecurity. Truly strong people do not need to prove themselves through anger, arguments, or emotional outbursts. Their control speaks louder than their reactions ever could. Calmness also protects mental energy. Constant emotional reactions drain focus, peace, and emotional stability. When you react to every opinion, conflict, or inconvenience, your mind becomes exhausted. But when you learn to remain emotionally detached from unnecessary negativity, you preserve your energy for things that truly matter. Another important truth is that silence often creates more strength than emotional expression. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every situation deserves your attention. Wise individuals understand that protecting their peace is more important than winning every argument or proving every point. Learning emotional restraint takes practice. There will always be moments where emotions rise quickly. But each time you pause before reacting, you strengthen your self-control little by little. Over time, calmness becomes a habit instead of a struggle. This creates emotional stability that cannot easily be shaken by external events. In the end, power begins with restraint. The less emotionally reactive you become, the more control you gain over your mind, decisions, and life. Calm individuals think more clearly, protect their peace better, and handle challenges more effectively. When you stop giving every situation an emotional reaction, you stop giving away your power. Chapter 2. Learn to pause before responding. One of the most powerful habits a person can develop is the ability to pause before responding. Most emotional reactions happen instantly. People speak without thinking, react without understanding, and allow temporary emotions to control permanent decisions. A simple pause creates space between emotion and action. That space is where self-control begins. Reactive individuals often regret their words and actions later. In moments of anger, frustration, or stress, the mind becomes impulsive and emotionally clouded. Decisions made during these moments are rarely wise. A pause interrupts that emotional impulse and allows the mind to regain clarity before responding. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness. In reality, silence can be a sign of emotional discipline and mental strength. Strong individuals do not feel the need to react immediately to every situation. They remain calm enough to think clearly before speaking or acting. This control gives them an advantage during conflict and pressure. Pausing also improves communication. Many arguments become worse because both people react emotionally without listening carefully. Instead of trying to understand, they focus only on defending themselves. But calm individuals listen first. They think carefully about their response. This reduces unnecessary conflict and creates more thoughtful conversations. Another important benefit of pausing is emotional protection. When you react instantly, you often absorb unnecessary negativity into your mind. Other people's anger, criticism, or emotional behavior can easily affect you if you respond impulsively. A pause helps you separate your emotions from the emotions of others. This creates emotional stability. The ability to pause becomes especially important during stressful situations. Pressure often pushes people toward panic, frustration, or emotional overreaction. But calm minds handle stress more effectively because they slow themselves down mentally. They focus on understanding the situation clearly before making decisions. This creates better judgment under pressure. Many people believe they must always respond immediately to prove confidence or strength. But emotionally disciplined individuals understand that not every situation deserves an instant reaction. Sometimes silence creates more power than words. Sometimes stepping back protects peace more effectively than trying to control every situation emotionally. Pausing also strengthens self-awareness. The more you observe your emotions before reacting, the more you understand your triggers, patterns, and weaknesses. This awareness allows you to improve emotional discipline over time. Self-mastery begins with recognizing your impulses instead of blindly obeying them. At first, learning to pause may feel difficult because emotional reactions happen automatically through habit. But with practice, the pause becomes natural. You begin slowing your mind down before speaking or acting. Over time, this creates calmness, patience, and emotional control that improve every area of life. In the end, a pause is far more powerful than most people realize. It protects relationships, improves decisions, reduces conflict, and strengthens emotional stability. The ability to remain calm before responding allows you to think clearly instead of reacting impulsively. And often, the strongest response is not an immediate reaction, but controlled silence and thoughtful action. Chapter 3. Stop taking everything personally. One of the biggest causes of emotional suffering is taking everything personally. Many people allow other people's opinions, behavior, criticism, or negativity to affect their peace deeply. A simple comment ruins their mood. Disagreement feels like rejection. Criticism feels like a personal attack. Over time, this emotional sensitivity creates stress, insecurity, and instability. The truth is that most people are too focused on themselves to think about you as much as you imagine. Their words, attitudes, and reactions often reflect their own emotions, problems, insecurities, and frustrations. People frequently project their internal struggles onto others. When you understand this, you stop absorbing every negative interaction personally. Emotionally reactive individuals constantly seek validation from the outside world. Their confidence depends heavily on approval, praise, and acceptance from others. Because of this, criticism affects them deeply. But internal confidence changes this completely. When your self-worth comes from discipline, character, and self-respect, outside opinions lose much of their power over you. Detachment is one of the strongest forms of emotional protection. Detachment does not mean becoming cold or emotionless. It means learning not to emotionally attach yourself to every opinion, conflict, or situation. Calm individuals understand that not every comment deserves emotional investment. Protecting your peace becomes more important than reacting to everything around you. Many unnecessary arguments happen because people feel the need to defend themselves constantly. They try to correct every misunderstanding, respond to every criticism, and prove themselves to everyone. This creates emotional exhaustion. Strong individuals understand that they do not need validation from every person they encounter. Sometimes silence protects peace more effectively than explanation. Taking things personally also increases emotional impulsiveness. When emotions become involved, people react defensively instead of thinking clearly. They speak emotionally, overanalyze situations, and create unnecessary mental stress. But emotional distance creates perspective. It allows you to observe situations calmly instead of becoming emotionally consumed by them. Another important truth is that people's opinions constantly change. If you allow every opinion to control your emotions, your peace will always feel unstable. Trying to satisfy everyone is impossible. Self-mastery means learning to remain grounded regardless of praise or criticism. Stability comes from within, not from public approval. Detachment also improves relationships. Emotionally secure individuals do not overreact to every disagreement or misunderstanding. They communicate more calmly because their emotions are not constantly seeking validation or defense. This creates maturity, patience, and healthier interactions with others. Learning not to take things personally requires awareness and emotional discipline. At first, certain words or situations may still trigger emotional reactions. But each time you choose calmness instead of defensiveness, you strengthen your emotional independence. Over time, outside negativity loses its ability to disturb your inner peace so easily. In the end, emotional freedom begins when you stop giving every opinion power over your mind. Not everything deserves your emotional energy. The more secure and disciplined you become internally, the less affected you are by external negativity. And once you stop taking everything personally, you gain a level of peace and emotional stability that cannot easily be shaken by others. Chapter 4. Calm people think more clearly under pressure. Pressure reveals the true condition of the mind. Anyone can appear calm when life feels easy and comfortable. But difficult situations expose emotional discipline, mental stability, and self-control. Stress, uncertainty, conflict, and unexpected problems often cause people to panic or react impulsively. Calm individuals, however, think clearly even during pressure because they have learned how to control their emotions. When emotions rise too quickly, judgment becomes weaker. Fear creates hesitation. Anger creates impulsive decisions. Panic creates confusion. Many mistakes happen not because situations are impossible, but because people lose emotional control during stressful moments. A reactive mind struggles to see solutions clearly because emotions cloud thinking. Calmness creates mental clarity. People who remain emotionally steady under pressure are better able to analyze situations, make wise decisions, and solve problems effectively. Instead of reacting emotionally, they focus on understanding what needs to be done. This ability gives them a major advantage during difficult circumstances. Stress affects everyone, but emotionally disciplined individuals manage it differently. They do not allow pressure to completely control their behavior. They slow themselves down mentally before responding. This creates space for rational thinking. A calm mind can process information more clearly than a mind overwhelmed by emotional reactions. Many people make pressure worse by overreacting mentally. They immediately assume the worst, focus on fear, and create unnecessary panic inside their minds. Overthinking and emotional impulsiveness increase stress instead of reducing it. Calm individuals avoid this pattern because they focus on solutions rather than emotional chaos. One important reason calmness creates strength is because it improves adaptability. Difficult situations often change quickly. People who panic struggle to adjust because emotions dominate their thinking. But calm individuals remain flexible. They accept reality, adapt carefully, and continue moving forward without losing emotional stability. Calmness also affects how others perceive you. During stressful situations, emotionally stable individuals naturally create trust and respect. People feel safer around those who remain composed under pressure. Leaders, strong communicators, and disciplined individuals often stand out because they bring stability instead of emotional chaos during difficult moments. Another important truth is that pressure itself is not always the problem. Often, the real problem is the inability to handle pressure emotionally. Two people can face the same challenge while responding completely differently. One panics and loses control. The other remains calm and focused. The difference is emotional discipline, not circumstance. Developing calmness under pressure requires practice. You cannot expect perfect emotional control instantly. But every difficult situation becomes an opportunity to strengthen mental stability. Each time you stay composed instead of reacting impulsively, you train your mind to handle stress more effectively in the future. In the end, calmness is one of the greatest forms of power. Pressure is unavoidable in life, but emotional control determines whether pressure weakens you or strengthens you. Calm people think more clearly, make better decisions, and recover from challenges faster. When you learn to remain steady during difficult moments, you gain a level of strength that cannot easily be shaken by external circumstances. Chapter 5. Silence is often more powerful than argument. Many people believe they must respond to everything. They feel the need to defend themselves constantly, correct every misunderstanding, and win every argument. But emotionally disciplined individuals understand an important truth. Not every situation deserves a reaction. Sometimes silence creates more power than words ever could. Arguments often begin because emotions take control before wisdom does. People react impulsively, trying to prove themselves right instead of seeking understanding. In emotional moments, communication becomes driven by ego rather than clarity. This usually creates more conflict instead of resolution. Silence interrupts that cycle before unnecessary damage is created. Strong individuals do not argue constantly because they understand the value of emotional energy. Every argument consumes attention, focus, and peace of mind. Many conflicts are meaningless distractions that do not improve life in any meaningful way. Wise people protect their mental energy carefully instead of wasting it on every disagreement. Silence also prevents emotional impulsiveness. Words spoken during anger or frustration often create long-term consequences. A single emotional reaction can damage relationships, trust, and respect. But silence creates time for awareness and emotional control. It allows the mind to calm down before decisions or responses are made. Another reason silence is powerful is because it reflects confidence. Insecure individuals often feel the need to explain themselves constantly or prove their value to others. But emotionally secure people understand that not every opinion requires defense. Quiet confidence speaks through behavior, discipline, and self-control rather than endless arguments. Many people mistake silence for weakness because they associate loud reactions with strength. In reality, emotional restraint often requires far greater discipline than impulsive expression. Anyone can react emotionally during conflict. Remaining calm and composed requires self-mastery. Strong individuals choose peace over unnecessary emotional battles. Silence also improves observation. When you stop reacting constantly, you begin seeing situations and people more clearly. Emotional reactions often distract people from understanding what is truly happening. Calm individuals listen carefully, observe behavior, and think before responding. This awareness creates better judgment and wiser decisions. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every criticism deserves explanation. Some people are committed to misunderstanding others no matter what is said. Constantly trying to change everyone's opinion creates emotional exhaustion. Self-mastery means accepting that peace is often more valuable than winning every argument. Another important truth is that silence protects dignity. Overreacting emotionally can weaken credibility and damage respect. Calm individuals maintain composure even during difficult conversations. Their restraint creates presence and authority because they are not controlled by emotional impulses or the need for constant validation. In the end, Silence is not about avoidance or weakness. It is about emotional intelligence and control. Choosing silence when emotions are high often prevents unnecessary conflict, protects peace, and preserves mental clarity. The strongest people are not always the loudest. Often, true power belongs to those who can remain calm, disciplined, and silent when others lose control. Chapter 6. Master your emotions before they master you. Emotions influence nearly every part of human behavior. They affect decisions, communication, relationships, focus, and self-control. Emotions themselves are not the problem. The real problem begins when emotions start controlling your actions instead of simply informing them. Many people live reactively, allowing temporary feelings to dictate permanent decisions without awareness or discipline. Uncontrolled emotions often create unnecessary suffering. Anger damages relationships. Fear prevents growth. Jealousy destroys peace of mind. Anxiety weakens clarity and focus. Emotional impulsiveness causes people to say things they regret and make decisions that create long-term consequences. A moment of emotional weakness can create problems that last far longer than the emotion itself. Self-mastery begins with emotional awareness. Most people react automatically because they never pause to observe what they are feeling. They become overwhelmed by emotions without understanding why. But emotionally disciplined individuals pay attention to their internal state. They recognize rising anger, frustration, fear, or insecurity before those emotions completely take control. Awareness creates choice. The moment you become conscious of your emotions, you gain the ability to respond differently. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can slow yourself down mentally. This pause creates emotional control. Strong individuals do not suppress emotions completely, but they also do not blindly obey every feeling they experience. Many people confuse emotional expression with emotional strength. They believe reacting intensely proves honesty or confidence. But true strength is the ability to remain composed during emotional situations. Calmness under pressure reflects discipline, maturity, and mental stability. Emotional control allows you to think clearly instead of becoming controlled by temporary feelings. Mastering emotions also improves relationships. Emotional impulsiveness creates unnecessary arguments, misunderstandings, and tension. People who constantly overreact emotionally often damage trust without realizing it. But emotionally disciplined individuals communicate more thoughtfully. They listen carefully, respond calmly, and avoid creating conflict through impulsive behavior. Another important truth is that emotions are temporary. Feelings rise and fall constantly throughout life. If you make decisions based only on temporary emotions, your life will become unstable and inconsistent. Strong individuals understand that emotions should not always be trusted blindly. They allow wisdom, values, and long-term thinking to guide behavior instead. Emotional discipline becomes especially important during difficult moments. Stress, disappointment, criticism, and uncertainty naturally trigger emotional reactions. Weak minds panic, overreact, or lose focus during these situations. But controlled minds remain steady enough to think clearly. This emotional stability creates resilience and better decision-making during pressure. Developing emotional control takes practice and patience. There will still be moments where emotions rise quickly or feel overwhelming. But every time you pause before reacting, breathe instead of exploding emotionally, or choose calmness over impulsiveness, you strengthen your self-control. Over time, emotional discipline becomes part of your character. In the end, mastering your emotions means mastering yourself. The less controlled you are by anger, fear, insecurity, or impulsiveness, the more stable and powerful your mind becomes. Emotional control protects your peace, strengthens your decisions, and improves every area of life. Because once you learn to guide your emotions wisely, your emotions stop controlling you. Chapter 7. Detachment protects your energy. Many people feel emotionally exhausted because they become attached to everything around them. They absorb other people's problems, react emotionally to every opinion, and carry unnecessary mental weight throughout the day. Over time, this emotional attachment drains peace, focus, and energy. Detachment is not about becoming cold or uncaring. It is about protecting your mind from unnecessary emotional burden. Emotional attachment often creates suffering because people try to control things outside their power. They become attached to outcomes, approval, relationships, and expectations. When reality does not match those expectations, frustration and disappointment appear. Detachment creates freedom because it teaches you to focus on what you can control instead of obsessing over what you cannot. Many individuals waste enormous emotional energy trying to please everyone. They constantly worry about how others view them, react to criticism, and seek validation from people around them. This creates emotional instability because their peace depends on outside approval. Detachment strengthens emotional independence and reduces the need for constant validation. Strong individuals understand that not every situation deserves emotional involvement. Some conflicts are meaningless. Some opinions are irrelevant. Some people are committed to negativity no matter what you do. Emotionally disciplined individuals learn when to step back instead of becoming emotionally trapped in unnecessary situations. This protects mental clarity and inner peace. Detachment also improves perspective. When emotions become too intense, people lose clarity and react impulsively. But emotional distance allows you to think more rationally. Instead of becoming consumed by temporary feelings, you can observe situations calmly and make wiser decisions. Calm observation creates far better judgment than emotional overreaction. Another important truth is that attachment often creates fear. People become afraid of rejection, failure, criticism, or loss because they emotionally depend too heavily on external things. But self-mastery reduces this dependence. Detachment teaches you to remain emotionally stable even when circumstances change unexpectedly. This creates resilience and mental freedom. Detachment is especially important during difficult relationships or stressful environments. Constant emotional involvement in toxic situations drains energy quickly. Some people carry the emotional weight of others every single day without realizing how much damage it causes internally. Healthy boundaries protect emotional health and prevent unnecessary mental exhaustion. Many people misunderstand detachment and assume it means avoiding emotions completely. But true detachment is balanced. You can still care deeply while maintaining emotional control. You can support others without losing yourself emotionally. Strong individuals remain compassionate while also protecting their own peace and mental stability. Learning detachment requires awareness and discipline. At first, emotional involvement may feel automatic because the mind is used to reacting strongly. But each time you step back instead of reacting impulsively, you strengthen emotional balance. Over time, you become calmer, clearer, and less controlled by external negativity or emotional chaos. In the end, detachment protects one of your most valuable resources: your energy. When you stop giving emotional attention to everything around you, your mind becomes lighter and more peaceful. You think more clearly, react less impulsively, and maintain greater stability during difficult situations. And once you learn healthy emotional detachment, you gain a level of inner peace that external chaos cannot easily disturb. Chapter 8. Control your mind during difficult situations. Difficult situations reveal the true strength of the mind. Anyone can remain calm when life feels easy, comfortable, and predictable. But pressure, uncertainty, failure, and stress expose emotional discipline and mental control. Many people lose clarity during hard moments because emotions take over their thinking. Self-mastery means learning how to remain mentally stable even when life becomes difficult. Hard moments often trigger fear, frustration, anger, or panic automatically. The mind begins imagining worst-case scenarios and reacting emotionally before fully understanding the situation. This emotional chaos weakens judgment and creates poor decisions. Problems often become worse because people react impulsively instead of thinking calmly under pressure. Controlled minds behave differently during difficult situations. Instead of reacting emotionally, they slow themselves down mentally. They focus on understanding the situation clearly before making decisions. Calmness creates space for rational thinking. This ability to remain composed during stress becomes a major advantage in life. One important truth is that emotions are contagious. When people around you panic, complain, or react emotionally, it becomes easy to absorb that same energy. But mentally disciplined individuals protect their internal state carefully. They do not allow external chaos to completely control their mindset. Their calmness creates stability not only for themselves but often for others around them as well. Many people waste energy fighting reality emotionally. They resist situations they cannot immediately change and become trapped in frustration or self-pity. But self-mastery requires acceptance before action. Calm individuals acknowledge reality honestly while still focusing on what they can control. This mindset creates resilience instead of emotional paralysis. Difficult situations also test patience. Under pressure, many people rush decisions because they want immediate relief from discomfort. But impulsive choices often create bigger problems later. Controlled individuals remain patient enough to think long-term. They understand that temporary emotions should not guide permanent decisions. Another important part of mental control is self-talk. During hard moments, negative thinking can quickly weaken confidence and increase stress. Thoughts like, "I can't handle this," or "everything is falling apart," create emotional instability. Strong individuals consciously guide their thinking toward clarity, solutions, and action instead of feeding fear or hopelessness. Mental discipline during difficulty also strengthens confidence. Every time you handle pressure calmly, you prove to yourself that you are capable of remaining stable during challenges. This builds deep internal trust. Over time, difficult situations stop feeling as overwhelming because you know you can manage your emotions and decisions more effectively. Control during difficult moments also earns respect. Calm individuals naturally stand out during chaos because they bring clarity instead of confusion. People trust those who remain emotionally stable under stress. This quiet strength creates influence, leadership, and credibility in every area of life. In the end, difficult situations are unavoidable, but losing control is not. The ability to remain calm, focused, and disciplined during pressure is one of the strongest forms of self-mastery. When you control your mind during hard moments, challenges stop controlling you completely. And that inner stability becomes a source of strength that cannot easily be shaken by life's difficulties. Chapter 9. Build quiet confidence instead of loud reactions. Many people try to appear strong through loud behavior, constant opinions, emotional reactions, and the need to prove themselves. But true confidence rarely needs attention. Real confidence is calm, steady, and controlled. It does not depend on validation, arguments, or constant recognition from others. Quiet confidence comes from internal strength rather than external performance. Insecure individuals often react loudly because they are trying to protect their ego. They feel the need to dominate conversations, defend themselves constantly, or seek approval through emotional expression. Overreacting becomes a way to hide insecurity. But emotionally disciplined individuals do not need to prove their value to everyone around them. Quiet confidence is built through self-respect and discipline. When you consistently control your emotions, keep your commitments, and handle difficulties calmly, you begin trusting yourself more deeply. This internal trust creates stable confidence that does not disappear when circumstances become difficult or when other people disagree with you. Strong individuals understand that presence matters more than performance. They do not waste energy trying to impress others constantly. Their behavior speaks for itself. Calmness, emotional control, discipline, and consistency naturally create respect. People often trust quiet individuals more because their stability feels genuine rather than performative. Another important truth is that confidence does not require constant explanation. Many people feel the need to defend every decision, correct every misunderstanding, or respond to every opinion. Quietly confident individuals understand that not everyone needs to approve of them. They remain grounded even when misunderstood because their identity is not dependent on outside validation. Emotional reactions often weaken credibility. People who constantly overreact appear unstable and emotionally controlled by circumstances. But calm individuals create a sense of strength because they remain composed during pressure. Their restraint creates influence. They speak carefully, respond thoughtfully, and avoid unnecessary emotional behavior. Quiet confidence also improves decision-making. Emotionally reactive people often make choices based on insecurity, fear, or the desire to impress others. But internally secure individuals think independently. They focus on values, goals, and long-term growth instead of constantly seeking approval or attention from the outside world. Another advantage of quiet confidence is emotional peace. People who constantly perform for validation become mentally exhausted because their self-worth depends on external reactions. But emotionally secure individuals feel less pressure to prove themselves. They become more comfortable with silence, patience, and simply allowing their actions to speak over time. Building quiet confidence takes practice and self-awareness. It requires letting go of the need to react emotionally, impress everyone, or seek constant recognition. At first, silence and restraint may feel uncomfortable because the ego wants validation. But over time, emotional discipline creates deeper stability and self-respect. In the end, true confidence is not loud, aggressive, or attention-seeking. Real confidence is calm under pressure, steady during criticism, and disciplined during difficulty. It does not need constant expression because it is built internally through self-control and self-respect. And when you develop quiet confidence, your presence becomes stronger than any emotional reaction ever could. Chapter 10. Become untouchable through emotional control. Emotional control is one of the greatest forms of power a person can develop. Most people live reactively, allowing circumstances, opinions, stress, and other people's behavior to control their emotions constantly. As a result, their peace becomes unstable and their decisions become impulsive. But when you master emotional control, you become far more difficult to manipulate, disturb, or mentally break. An emotionally reactive person is easy to control. Anyone who can trigger your anger, insecurity, fear, or frustration gains influence over your mind. Small comments create emotional pain. Criticism destroys confidence. Pressure creates panic. This emotional instability weakens clarity and focus. Self-mastery begins when you stop giving external situations so much control over your internal state. Untouchable individuals remain calm even when life becomes difficult. They still experience emotions, but they do not allow those emotions to dominate their behavior. Instead of reacting impulsively, they pause, observe, and respond carefully. This emotional discipline creates strength because calm minds think clearly while reactive minds lose control. One of the greatest benefits of emotional control is freedom. You stop feeling emotionally trapped by every inconvenience, disagreement, or stressful situation. Fear loses much of its influence. Criticism affects you less deeply. Negativity becomes easier to ignore. Instead of constantly reacting to the world, you begin moving through life with greater stability and peace. Emotionally controlled individuals also maintain focus more effectively. Many people lose energy because emotional reactions constantly distract them from important goals. Anger, drama, comparison, and unnecessary conflict consume mental attention. But calm individuals protect their focus carefully. They refuse to waste emotional energy on things that do not improve their lives. Another important truth is that emotional control improves resilience. Difficult moments no longer destroy your stability completely because you learn how to manage pressure calmly. Setbacks become easier to recover from. Problems become easier to solve. Instead of collapsing emotionally during challenges, you remain steady enough to adapt and continue moving forward. Untouchable people also understand the importance of emotional boundaries. They do not absorb every opinion, argument, or emotional burden around them. They choose carefully what deserves their attention and energy. This protects mental clarity and prevents emotional exhaustion. Self-mastery means understanding that not every situation deserves your emotional involvement. Emotional discipline also strengthens confidence. Every time you remain calm during pressure, resist impulsive reactions, or protect your peace during difficult situations, you prove your strength to yourself. This builds deep internal confidence because you know your emotions no longer control your behavior automatically. Becoming emotionally untouchable does not mean becoming cold or disconnected from people. It means becoming emotionally balanced and mentally disciplined. You still care, feel, and experience life fully, but you no longer allow temporary emotions to dominate your decisions or destroy your peace. This balance creates maturity, stability, and inner strength. In the end, the less emotionally reactive you become, the more powerful your mind becomes. Emotional control creates freedom, focus, resilience, and peace that external situations cannot easily take away. When you stop allowing the world to constantly control your emotions, you gain control over yourself. And once that happens, you become mentally strong in a way that very few people truly are. Thank you for listening to The Less You React, the more powerful you become. The lessons in this audiobook are not simply about staying quiet or avoiding conflict. They are about developing emotional discipline, mental clarity, and the ability to remain calm when the world around you becomes chaotic. Most people spend their lives reacting emotionally to everything. Opinions, criticism, stress, pressure, and temporary problems. But emotional reactions often weaken judgment, destroy peace, and give external situations control over the mind. Real power begins when you learn to control yourself instead. The ability to pause before reacting, stay calm under pressure, and protect your emotional energy is one of the strongest forms of self-mastery. Calm individuals think more clearly, make better decisions, and maintain stability even during difficult moments. Their strength comes from control, not emotional impulsiveness. As you move forward, remember that not every situation deserves your reaction. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Silence, patience, and emotional restraint will often protect your peace more effectively than arguments or impulsive responses ever can. The less reactive you become, the more focused, disciplined, and mentally strong you will feel. Over time, emotional control creates confidence, resilience, and inner peace that cannot easily be shaken by the outside world. Before you leave, subscribe to our Mind Tune audiobook channel for more audiobooks designed to strengthen your mindset, sharpen your discipline, and help you build a calmer, stronger, and more focused life. All the best.